Hi everyone, welcome to the shack for this weekend update. As you can see, the weather is terrible. It's been raining since yesterday. Well, actually it's been raining for days, but it's been raining quite heavily since yesterday. Strong winds predicted this afternoon, great. My worst weather condition. I guess that goes for anybody that's got any antennas up in the garden. That didn't actually blow over, and I actually cut that part of the tree that was hanging over the fence because with the strong winds a few days ago, my end-fed wire didn't actually collapse, but it kind of subsided slightly. So I ended up taking both of the poles at the bottom of the garden down, and in doing that, the actual conductor got caught in that tree that sort of hangs over, and the only way to actually get it was to actually saw that bit of the tree off, which needed doing anyway. And you probably can't see, but I've replaced basically a second fishing pole with a 5-meter telescopic pole, aluminium pole, and attached the fishing poles that support the end fed and the G5RV to it, and touch wood, it does seem a lot more robust. Still not a proper arrangement, but it does seem stronger than my original lash up. So anyway, apparently, as I said, there are some sort of strong winds predicted in the UK, up to 40 miles an hour. Hopefully not here, but there you go, that's what it's all about. Until I've got, I don't know, presumably some kind of aluminium pole arrangement to support every part of the antenna. I'm always going to have problems if winds get very strong. Although interestingly, with the G5RV has been up there for about 15 months and I've never had a problem with it. So there you go. But anyway, the antenna's up and it is working. First thing I want to talk about actually is my BLA350 linear amplifier. So here's one that I found earlier for sale. Now this is for sale with Radio World, who I don't know very much about, only anecdotally from members of the guys at the club who say that they're expensive, and that you sometimes find that they advertise equipment that they don't actually have in stock. I don't know whether that's true or not, but that's what I hear from friends at the club. So here's a second-hand RM BLA350 linear, the same as mine. It's got the updated sort of black fascia, but apart from that, it's exactly the same. And they want £549 for it. I think otherwise they're about £900. And I paid, I'm sure I've already told you guys this, so I paid the cost of replacing the 2 power transistors that blew up in this one when the previous owner, M0KP, was using it. He blew it up because he was transmitting at full power, so sort of 300 watts. He was using FT8 at the time, so which is quite an avant-garde thing to do in itself, running FT8 with 300 watts. He told me actually that in doing that, he could work stations in the Pacific with 300 watts on FT8, which I suppose is not surprising, but so that's why he was doing it. Anyway, so he's transmitting at 300 watts and inadvertently switched out the antenna, which blew up the 2 output transistors. So for the cost of replacing those transistors, which is only a small fraction of 549 quid, he sold me this linear, and I couldn't use it because whenever I tried to use it, it would always complain of high SWR, and the reason for that is because of the way that my lead runs into the shack were via these very thin window jumpers, which obviously were getting warm through I2R heating, and obviously becoming resistive and changing the input impedance, and detected by the linear, and it refused to work. So when I got the Diamond X300 put up on the roof and the guy drilled a hole through the wall, I no longer, and of course the fact that I've put the 9-to-1 Unan on the end-fed wire, so I'm feeding the shack now with coax. I no longer had a problem. So and I used this thing on 80 meters for the best part of a week, until the Friday night sked last week, when I decided to use it on a sked for the first time, and with the 7300. And so I matched the antenna on top band perfectly, no problem at all, and went to transmit with I think only 1 or 2 watts just to test it, and it immediately complained of high SWR. Now, I assumed that that was because the bare match on my end-fed wire for top band isn't as good as the bare match on 80 meters, and that is something I still have to check. So what I did was I used the Kenwood on the sked on top band, and then I switched back to the Icon with the BLA350 for 80 meters, and it worked fine until someone commented that although it's working and I was generating a strong signal, they felt my audio was clipping, and so that then kind of catalyzed a discussion, and between, well, the clever people in the club, when I say clever, I mean clever because they understand, you know, they're electronics professionals, figured out that when the output transistors, the output power transistors are replaced, the guy that did it didn't adjust the biasing. So it's not that he did anything wrong, he just didn't adjust the biasing, and so they figured that probably the biasing was set at C class, which would obviously mean that my signal could be clipped. So the next day I took it back to Tim, and he reset the biasing and brought it back, and I tested it, and Tim described my audio as 100 times better than it was, probably not quite perfect, and that he may have another go with it. And then I used it on the sked on Wednesday, and sort of similar comments really, much better. There may be another adjustment to make, but much better than it was previously. So anyway, so I've just used it actually. The station here, I've just worked that station actually, and so that's Golf Bravo to Alderton Watermill, and I just worked him using my using this linear full power. What am I putting into it? 12%, which is basically 12 watts, which is the maximum input power, and he was actually struggling to hear anybody. He had a bit of a pile-up going, but he couldn't actually hear anyone very well at all, and he said that my signal punched through at 5 and 9. So since it was repaired for the second time, and nobody outside of the club who I've just worked has sort of commented on the audio at all. So you know, I think in that respect it's fine, and I'm going to use it over the weekend. I'm going to see where I can get on, because I've not used it on 40 or 20 meters. I've only used it on top band and on 80. Oh, and by the way, when Tim set the biasing, it no longer complains of higher SWR on top band. So so that this kind of non-linearity issue appears to have gone away with regard to that as well. So I'm going to give that a test over the weekend, and see where I can get. Try it on, as I said, on 40 and 20 meters. You know, you can argue there's not much difference really in terms of ultimate signal strength that you're putting out on 300 versus 200, but why not have it working if it's in the shack? So that's what I'm going to do. Other things going on. I'm chairing the Harwell ARS 2-meter simplex net this afternoon at 15:30. Myself and Tim sort of take it in turns to chair that net. So it's really just a rag chew with several members of the club, quite enjoyable. So, but we do it in the middle of the afternoon, and we take turns, so as to kind of minimise the sort of commitment. You know, you've only got to be there every other week. We did actually try to rope a few more people into to get involved in sharing that net, but guess what? There weren't any other takers. So Tim and I are doing that. And while I've been talking to you, it appears that I've just worked a station on 2 meters on FT8, and it's F4DDG. So sorry, F Foxtrot 4 Delta Juliet Golf. So how great is that? So let me just go to the map, and actually let's go. Yeah, that's better. So this is PSK Reporter, and I'm assuming it's that. There you go. So that station there in France. You probably can't see that very clearly, but that is Fox 4 Delta Juliet Golf. 253 kilometers, bearing 148 degrees. So that's a station that I've just worked, well, a few minutes ago, because I've been talking to you guys now on here for about 10 minutes. But so that's great. Great to work have literally heard nobody else in the UK, just that station in France. So how great is that? So let's go back again and start transmitting. Right. So what else? Yeah, so as regards to the amplifier, as long as I can keep it working, I've got myself a bargain. So I'm really pleased about that. Right, the other thing, Echolink. So here's the thing. We have, well, you guys probably know that Harwell ARS now, because of the pandemic, we socialise now via Zoom. In fact, we have several Zoom calls. We have one on a Monday evening, and then we have another on Wednesdays and another on Fridays, and in the morning. But now I nearly always participate in the Monday call, not so often the others, because obviously I'm working. But one of the club members, Nigel, G0CQZ, has set up a node for that you can connect to via Echolink. And the guys were talking about this. Now, I had already downloaded Echolink onto my iPhone a long time ago. In fact, it was when and I'd actually forgotten. And when the guys were talking about this, and I thought, well, I'm going to give that a go. So I went to the App Store to download it, only to find that all I had to do was click open. I already had it on my phone. And when I opened it, my call sign was still 2E0HTG. So I had to apply for my new call with Echolink, which involved emailing them electronic copy of my full license, which I did, and they came back pretty quickly. And I found Nigel's node on Echolink and connected to it with my iPhone. I was in the office and put a call out, a CQ call out, and within about 10 seconds, another club member, Chris, G6LRY, answered, and I had a conversation with him on my phone with at his radio via the node provided by G0CQZ, which was great. So, and what I had also been doing was there's literally hundreds or thousands of nodes that you can connect with online, and so I added a few favorites, some repeaters in New York City, in the USA, and it doesn't matter what time of day or night you connect to these repeaters in New York, there's always lots of traffic, so you can sit there eavesdropping on conversations in New York, well, all over the world really. In fact, Jeff, M0UHF, was chatting to somebody in Japan via Echolink the other morning. So it's incredible really. Obviously it's only part of the contact is via radio, but you know, so what? You know, it doesn't really matter, does it? It's just another facet of the hobby, and a very interesting one. So the thing is that, so in theory, when next time I go to Australia, if I manage to take an FM radio with me and I can find a repeater that, in theory, via the internet, I could participate in an HF net, or I could participate in an HF net using my phone, connected to Nigel's node, which someone like Jeff could then rebroadcast my audio if he was using 2 radios in his shack. So I could connect to the HF net from Australia via Jeff and Echolink. So that's an interesting thought, an interesting experiment. So I'm going to have a play around with Echolink this weekend, and yeah, and just see what I can hear, and maybe try calling one of these overseas repeaters, calling into one. So yeah, so that's something else I'm going to be doing. So other than that, that's about it. I'm going to be doing some later on tonight, some DXing. I've been using the antenna jet now for a couple of weeks or whatever, and it is absolutely brilliant addition to the shack. All my favourite boat anchors, here they are, can all be connected at the same time. It makes comparing the performance of boat anchors, portables, etc. very easy, and I'm going to be having a go with that probably later on this evening, you know, once the kids are in bed. Hi. Probably I'm thinking that I might, haven't used this little beauty for a while, still one of the best ever, ICF 2001D. So I'll probably have a go with that radio later. It doesn't get much use these days, but and deserves to. So I'll probably have a go with that and some of the boat anchors later on tonight. So there you go. So that's it from me. I wish you all a great weekend. Good DX if you're listening to the radio. I hope the weather we use better than it is with me. It's literally horrendous. But even more of a reason really to stay indoors and play around with the radios, etc. this weekend. I don't think the weather's improving later on today or tomorrow. So yeah, looks like a weekend in the shack. Yeah, see what I can hear. Might do a bit of that. I was thinking about doing a bit of DXing today, actually, just tuning around shortwave and seeing what I can hear during the day, because I don't get to do that very much. I've been meaning to try and copy Radio New Zealand International on the Belka DX, and again, that's I've been meaning to do that for quite a long time, and never got around to it. Tiny little thing. So I'll probably have a go with that today. Yeah, so there you go. Right, well, thanks for watching. Keep the comments coming in. I'm doing my best to sort of keep up with the comments. It's impossible to reply to all of them anymore. There's just too many. But I am some. I do read them all and give them the thumbs up or the love heart if I think they're really great. Hi. So please keep the comments coming in, and I really appreciate it. Well, thanks very much. I wish you all a pleasant weekend, and 73.